So following the World Cup, there's been a lot of news in regards to USA basketball. In the media in the United States, there's been a lot of talks and controversy about the makeup of the team and who put together the team and all of the things that the USA lacked. But I don't think people really grasp how different the NBA game is from the international game. I think a lot of times NBA players play going away from the basket, whereas FIBA players usually go towards the basket. For example, it's not very uncommon to see a lot of NBA teams doing double screens in order to get a shooter coming up for a three. In Europe, of course, this happens. There's a lot more emphasis on getting 2 feet in the paint and seeing what you have from there, whether it's passing out for a three or getting the big man rolling or getting into a simple pull-up jumper. I like to think of the NBA, if I'm honest, as it's entertaining basketball. You want to watch it. It's going to be incredible plays, a lot of athleticism. It's going to be a lot of deep threes made. That's NBA basketball. I think an international game is educational basketball. You're going to see the game played in the right way, quote unquote. You're going to see a lot of pick and rolls. You're going to see great passes. You're going to see a lot of fundamental things that lead to really good baskets. Because, of course, international play is a lot less athletic. Of course, you have players in every league all around the world who are extremely athletic, but that's not the makeup of most leagues around the world. This is the makeup of the NBA. You're going to go on any team and see everybody can windmill between the leg. Like, that's kind of the culture. But international basketball is different. No doubt, regardless of the NBA talent, it's still a different game. There's still kind of a disadvantage. And this is not me giving any excuses for USA basketball, but just acknowledging the fact that it is technically not really a level playing field. But nonetheless, at this particular moment, USA players making the argument of being the best in the world is not wrong. We all know the NBA is the best league in the world, but it's no secret that international basketball is, in fact, catching up to USA basketball. And we're going to discuss further now in this reaction. Shout out to Basket News for the video that we're going to be reacting to. So let's get into it. Let's lock in. Let's go.
Ask D Wade if 08 was easy. Ask CP if 12 was easy. Ask Book if 21 was. It's not easy at this level to win gold.
While everyone is debating who the current world champions are, Germany or the Denver Nuggets, the real conversation we should be having is this one. Why is nobody scared of Team USA anymore? If NBA is the best league, and I agree with this, and the US had the most players from it in this World Cup, then how come they're going home without a medal for a second time in a row in this tournament? And please don't start typing "let's wait for the Olympics" when LeBron, Steph, and KD might show up. It's not only that. NBA players only Team USA have lost 6 times in the last 5 years, while before they went undefeated from 2008 to 2019.
So it's no secret, like I said, international play is catching up to the US. There are a lot of international players coming to the US to play. And if we want to be honest, the top 5 players in the NBA at this moment, probably out of those 5, 4 of them are international players. So that tells you a lot about the international game and honestly where the scouts in the NBA are starting to look. So that's another thing to think about.
Even if they do win in Paris next year, the trend is becoming more and more obvious. The world is catching up to USA in international competitions. And the FIBA World Cup has given us a great explanation of what's actually going on.
Schroeder steps back. Count it! The Germans have taken a 6-point lead!
First of all, there's one big difference to understand here. NBA and FIBA basketball are two completely different
Very
things.
different.
And it's not only the rules or court size variations I'm talking about. It's the consequences that are created by these differences in how the actual basketball is played on each side
That's
of the ocean.
NBA right there.
To be honest, I feel like this gap is getting bigger and bigger each year. Semifinal between the United States and Germany was another proof of why things that work in the NBA are not always successful on FIBA courts. Germany used Lithuania's example and punished
Going in the
USA
paint,
where
yep.
everyone was expecting they would have problems
Yeah.
before the tourney. Defending off the ball, getting offensive rebounds, and punishing their switch-all system. FIBA basketball emphasis on different values proved to be mission impossible for the Americans to solve in a month and a half.
Count it! And the man from the Baltic.
I'm glad he acknowledges that. The game is different. There's no doubt. The game is different. And I think, like he said, the consequences of those differences are being shown on the international stage because NBA they play under different rules. Like the 3 second calls on defense, there's none of that in international basketball. That changes the way you defend. That changes your natural instincts to the basketball when you were so used to not having that, and now you have to use that. That does change a lot.
Are flying early.
So without a doubt, NBA is the fastest league in the world. And that's where we spot the first difference. Defensive rebounding habits are long gone. Nobody recognizes the need of boxing out since in the NBA, everybody is concerned with transition defense. But in FIBA and versus Germany, we immediately see a consequence of it. Voigtman can run inside the paint without Edwards even thinking about boxing him out. It's not the first time in the tourney they get burned by it.
They really struggle.
However,
with
didn't manage to learn the lesson quick enough. Germany get on the scoreboard here. In the next clip, Franz Wagner attacks his Magic teammate Banchero early and watch nobody put a body on Thiemann. Americans get caught ball watching and Thiemann gets it too. Identical situation a bit later. Wagner pulls up on the break, Voigtman is crashing inside, Bridges is imitating a box out here, and it's 2 points again. Germany got 25 points on only 12 offensive rebounds, showing how little resilience they faced.
25 points on 12 offensive rebounds. That means they scored basically on every single chance.
It's actually impossible for Germany to not have an extra shot here, with Theis and Voigtman both in better positions than their smaller opponents.
Theis goes off with a putback.
Grant Hill and
Theis was
Steve Kerr
hooping.
both expected huge contribution from Jaren Jackson Jr. in this tournament. But first, the Defensive Player of the Year wasn't able to stay out of foul trouble, and second, his rim protection wasn't as clear as in the NBA, where he takes more of a free-roaming weak side help defender role. Here, he was guarding pick and rolls and post-ups mostly. USA's help side defense were also close to non-existent, despite FIBA allowing guys to stay in the paint for more than 3 seconds. They simply don't have this habit. They allow Schroeder to get inside the paint early, Germany's spacing is impeccable, and Wagner has little to no trouble beating this lazy closeout by Anthony Edwards.
Franz Wagner gets in!
That's a very important point. So Jaren Jackson is so used to not being able to camp the paint that, like I said, his natural instinct isn't to just stay there. And of course, you have to give credit to the other teams. They know that the plan would be to put him in pick and roll situations so that he's not close to the basket in order to block shots and everything. You want him in every pick and roll so you can make the other defenders be rim protectors, which of course they aren't. So you have to give credit to the other teams as well.
Other guys also had problems expressing themselves in a way they would do in the NBA. Jalen Brunson, who was envisioned as one of the main guys, had a subpar tournament, while Brandon Ingram was only a shadow of himself, averaging 5.7 points in 16 minutes. It seemed like it's hard for these go-to guys in their respective NBA teams to understand smaller roles and be excited about them. And unhappy guys in the locker room never lead to great things. Moving on to the next topic, I know there is no tradition in the NBA to make smart, intelligent fouls before bonus in half-court possessions, but maybe some would have helped resetting the opponent's offense. In FIBA, 95% of the teams do that. They reset mismatch situations with quick take fouls, helping themselves to regroup. Now, the Americans were using switch all with Banchero at the 5. Germany took a page out of Lithuania.
You can't do that.
Looked for mismatches in.
Yeah, they just went at Austin Reeves every possession.
Have 0 team fouls and 1 could reset the possession. Yet they allow a kick out outside for a team that's shooting lights out from free.
Franz Wagner for 3. It's good.
I want to point something out too just now. So on that exact possession, when you do switch with 5 people and there's a mismatch, for the most part, they will send a double. You usually will send a double to help the mismatch if necessary. It seems like Banchero's just not, like I said, just not used to being able to be so far over that he's standing under the basket, but he should commit to the baseline in order to help Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves should stop the guy he's defending from going to the middle, and Banchero should run to the baseline to trap him right there so that he doesn't go anywhere else. But the hesitation, things like that are what cost them. Like, I just don't think that they're used to getting where they're supposed to get, like that easily.
You might think, oh, but early fouls like this one may get you in a foul trouble. It's true, it could happen, but it's rare and the benefit it gives is much greater.
Bro, this guy right there just looked like the guy talking on the mic.
Reason to it if 95% of European teams do it. Now it's time to talk about the man of the semifinal, Andy Obst, and the difference between NBA and FIBA his movement of the ball demonstrated. If you haven't watched the World Cup, this guy is like your favorite.
Yeah, it was so good watching him, man.
Shooter off the catch. Now think about how many guys like JJ we had 10 or 15 years ago and
not a lot.
How many there are now. The league and USA basketball culture in general has gone in opposite direction. It's all about athletic guards that can play ISO or pick and roll with the ball in their hands. These are making NBA players forget how to guard off-ball action where international players are so good because they often lack explosiveness or aren't that good in dribble combo.
I think that's a fair take.
Rear action for Obst and this curl after the pin down is something the Americans never understood how to guard throughout 40 minutes.
They struggled with that exact action
after the break, and it was probably the #1 reason why USA lost the semifinal. It's a pick and pop on the left that turns into a zoom action for Obst. We knew the USA would be bad in screen navigation before the World Cup as friendlies exposed this weakness, but to be this bad? Next possession in, Germany say why change what works. First mistake by Haliburton is not putting any contact
pressure
before Andreas starts moving. This is a recipe for disaster.
He's supposed to be on his hip already. Anticipating, you know it's the same play. You should be on his hip, telling him where to go or stopping him from getting in that direction. Whatever it is you need to do, whatever your coach teaches you to do. But to give space in order for you to be on the island for the screener to just hit you, you're not getting through that screen at all. You're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're going to be late. Now watch.
Anywhere, FIBA or NBA. Obst runs out without a problem, and for a shooter of his caliber, that's too easy.
Pull-up jumper, easy.
USA have to adjust something, right? Maybe a top lock or something to make Obst change the path? Nope, not at all. He gets a straight line sprint, and look at how much space he has for this shot. That's 3 straight possessions USA got punished by the same off-ball play.
Again, how good is that man?
The last thing, but definitely not the least important one. Smaller USA guards got targeted heavily in post after switches. We know the majority of NBA teams have gone to switch all in the last 10 years, but
in FIBA that doesn't work out
because of a different way teams were attacking against it. While in the NBA, all you see is perimeter ISO play, here in the World Cup, it was Austin Reeves being forced to defend in the post. Now, post-ups, just like boxing out, is a lost art in the greatest league in the world, and that gave Americans a bunch of problems. Kerr and Grant Hill imagined switching would be one of the main Team USA strengths, but it got completely hammered in the post and with weaker defenders on the perimeter. It also came to bite them on the defensive glass as well. USA allowed Montenegro to get 23 offensive rebounds, Lithuania grabbed 18. And here versus Germany once again, you see absolutely no one boxing out for the Americans, while Bonga and Thiemann both cut from the 3-point line inside. How can you expect to win the World Cup with habits like these? Dylan Brooks and Canada also proved to USA that offensive talent isn't everything, as they stole bronze from them. Apart from this match being the most casual game for a medal ever seen, simply because the American sports culture doesn't value any other place than the first one, and there's no problem with that. It also showed that Canada's team structure was way more important than USA talent. Canada had a clear leader in Shea, and everybody else understood their roles perfectly. SGA was surrounded with defensive stars like Brooks and Lou Dort, who scored versus USA when the opponent asked them to, not when they thought it's their time to do something now. Other guys like RJ Barrett, Olynyk, and Dwight Powell.
Dylan Brooks was hooping, bro. I can't believe I said that.
Again, proving that NBA and FIBA basketball are two completely different things.
Shea takes the contact in one.
Canada was my favorite team in the tournament. I said that already on my channel too. I thought that they're exactly what he just said is why I like them. I mean, they had the perfect amount of star power, but with role players, like when you have Lou Dort, like when you have Dylan Brooks, guys who make their money in the NBA on the defensive end, and you put that type of fight, that type of grit, along with a superstar in Shea, like you have a really good recipe. On the USA team, it seemed like they were still trying to find their identity. I don't think the issue for them was camaraderie. I'm sure they enjoyed each other and everything. I think it was difficult for them to just understand, first of all, the game, the difference in the game, but also how to play with each other. Like, that doesn't happen in a few weeks. you're starting essentially from zero. A lot of these guys, it's probably their first time playing with Team USA. Like, this is difficult. Most of these Canadian guys, they've been playing on the Canadian national team. They've been playing international play. It does matter. And now we see why.
Canada back in front.
I just hope that after watching this video, it's clear to everyone that the two leagues are drifting apart in terms of play style. This and the fundamentals of international players fits the FIBA ball way more. That's why the Nuggets can't call themselves world champions, and the world isn't scared of Team USA anymore, even if they bring their A-team. I agree that the veteran superstars are still the heavy favorites to win gold next year, but what happens after that? FIBA World Cup was a great example of how the new generation only knows how to play NBA basketball, and that could mean the dominant days of USA basketball are nearing the end. Could Americans playing overseas be an option for tournaments like the World Cup? Let me know what you think about all this discussion in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, let me be the first on record to say great video by Basket News. Shout out to them over there. Before you do anything, if you want to check out the original video without my commentary, be sure to check the link in my description to go check it out yourself. Shout out to them. Thank you so much for the video. Excellent work. Now, I think everything he's saying is very true. I think a lot of people are seeing that. But I think the most important thing he said at the end of the video was, after LeBron, KD, Steph Curry, all those guys come, if those guys come, they're going to win the Olympics. But what happens after that? The younger players just showed us that they only know how to play NBA basketball. And for most USA fans, for most people, that's okay. You're going to argue that, Americans don't care about the World Cup. That's okay if you don't care about it. That doesn't mean that it's still going to continue to happen. It's still going to happen. And these particular arguments are still going to happen. Talent is great, but it's not enough. When you have players in international play who rely a lot on what they've learned, skills, hard work, like, that's who they are. There's more grit, there's more fight. Like I said, the USA basketball just lacked that. I didn't think they lacked any talent, especially on the perimeter. You had Anthony Edwards, nobody could guard him. But when you have players like Jaren Jackson, the defensive player of the year for the NBA, that can't get more than 3 rebounds in a tournament, that can't really be an effective shot blocker, you have an issue. It's not just about talent. You have to be able to execute that talent. You have to be able to outwork your opponents. And I think the USA just didn't really find their identity. And it's the reason why they didn't really succeed in this tournament. The thing about international basketball catching up to USA is very true. It's definitely real, and everybody can see it. But this is the way it's supposed to be. You want that. You want your competition to improve. You want basketball to be better in any way. That's what you want. Over the years, and of course, the domination that USA basketball has had, that's always happened. But in the midst of that, there's always been extremely talented international players. And now, slowly but surely, as more countries take it on, as more countries develop in terms of the sport, and the NBA is a global brand. They are investing in other countries in order to build those countries up in the sport of basketball. So, of course, you're going to naturally see a progression. I think it's a great thing for the sport, and it makes it more exciting to watch when everybody's at a level playing field. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel lately as well. If you are new here, this is what we do here. We do reactions to basketball content. It's that simple. If you want to be a part of this growing community, please, please, please don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know anytime that I post. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment down below. I'm always responding in the comments as well to be able to interact with everybody. So thank you all so much for watching. I love you all to that. Until the next one. Peace.